he said, man, you know what? I'm doing something totally different. It's called MTR. And I've never heard of it, right? I'm like,
Yeah.
what the hell is that, right?
Yeah.
So he explained, the difference with short-term Airbnb, then the long-term, and how MTR is in the middle, and how he's doing insurance placements and some of the relocations, and the margins are higher and so forth. And then he mentioned the group Vetted Homes. He goes, I joined this group. You need to join. Just follow the playbook. It's really interesting. And that's all he had to say, man. As soon as I got home, I started researching it. And I was like, oh my gosh, we have a lot of real estate friends of our realtors and brokers around the area. And I started asking, and none of them were aware.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm liking this even better now, right? This might be a good time for me to jump in. So I started researching it and it looked really good. I looked at Vetted Homes. I reached out to you guys and, that was it. As long as I have a playbook, I have a system that I can follow. I don't want to reinvent the wheel, right? It's kind of like a franchise system,
Yeah.
right? If it's working for people and you have a system, all you got to do is follow the playbook, I'm in. So I just pulled the trigger and jumped in.
All right, welcome back to Vetted Homes Show. I'm so excited today to have Louis on, one of our Vetted Homes members who has been exceptional in our group and has really been just such a joy to have him contributing so much knowledge and even wisdom in just the short, I believe, 9 months that he's been doing insurance midterm rentals. But it's just been such a blessing to watch his journey. And we're just so thankful for all the contributions he's made to our group. And I'm excited to dive in and let you guys hear about his story and his journey. Louis, would you first just kind of tell us a little bit about yourself and your background and what you and your wife have going on?
Sure. Thank you for the invitation. I'm excited to be here. My wife and I, we own a fitness franchise company, primarily here in California. We have 70 locations, mostly in California, a few of them out of state. We also own 4 club ourselves that we own and operate. We love doing that. Keeps us busy, but it's a lot of fun. And we also own a supplement company. We have about maybe 40, 42 different products. We sell online and at our clubs as well. And then we also own a marketing agency where we help our franchisees with content creation strategies, Facebook and Instagram ads. And then we're also landlords. We have a couple of commercial properties and then also some MTRs. We have about 13 tenants overall. So we love doing that too. So we're excited on that part of the business as well too.
Wow, that's incredible. I mean, all of that, I can't even imagine running and managing and doing all of that. How did you get into the fitness industry and what brought?
Back in 2008, we owned another business. It's kind of like really we were like in the home goods distribution. I would say that's how I would call it. It was driven primarily from the real estate boom in the early 2000s and the mid 2000s, and then all that during the crash of 2008 collapse, and we lost that business.
Mhm.
So we were wiped out, and we looked at each other. I think back in 2009, and said, "What is it that you want to do? Do you want to go get a job, or do we want to start something else?" And by then, my wife had a lot of passion for fitness, and this is something that she wanted to do. That was her vision, and I said, "Okay, let's go ahead and go for it." The idea was to have maybe 4 or 5 gyms here locally, make a little bit of money, be happy, have some fun. But I would say in 2014, clients started approaching us wanting to buy a franchise. So we looked at ourselves and we said, well, let's go ahead and start franchises.
Love it.
Hmm.
That's so awesome. I love just the entrepreneurial spirit of just kind of like listening to the people and then, creating something new. So that is really incredible. I'm very impressed and in awe of all of that.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. So let's move into your real estate journey. So you have commercial buildings, you said, and also some MTRs. You want to share a
Yeah,
little bit?
yeah. So yeah, we own some commercial properties here in California. They do very well. Like around 2020, we started saving cash so that we can invest out of state in single family residences. And that was the idea. Since here in California, it's a little bit difficult to buy rentals,
Right.
the numbers are very, very difficult to make them work. And there was a client at the camp here where closest to our home, his name is Albert Sotomayor. And I knew that he had four rentals in the Houston area, and we've talked about that. And probably like 6 months later, well, 2021, 2022, when things started going a little crazy, right, in the real estate market, we're the type of people is that we want to buy when people are selling, not buying. So we sat out. I told my wife, this is not the time to buy. So let's start accumulating cash so that when the right opportunity comes in, we can just jump into the market. So I felt that towards the end of 2025 was maybe a good time for us to jump in and start acquiring some assets. So I reached out to Albert Sotomayor. We were working out together, and I asked him about the market in Houston. And he said, man, you know what? It's like I'm doing something totally different. It's called MTR. And I've never heard of it, right? I'm like,
Yeah.
what the hell is that, right?
Yeah.
So he explained, the difference with short-term Airbnb, then the long-term, and how MTR is in the middle,
Mhm.
and how he's doing insurance placements and some of the relocations, and the margins are higher and so forth. And then he mentioned the group Vetted Homes. He goes,
Mhm.
I joined this group. You need to join. Just follow the playbook, and it's really interesting. And that's all he had to say, man. As soon as I got home, I started researching it, and I was like, oh my gosh. And not only that, we have a lot of real estate friends of our realtors and brokers around the area. And I started asking, and none of them were aware.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm liking this even better now, right? This might be a good time for me to jump in. So I started researching it,
Mhm.
and it looked really good. I looked at Vetted Homes. I reached out to you guys. Shaler was the first one to
Yeah.
contact me.
Uh-huh.
And, that was it. As long as I have a playbook, I have a system that I can follow. I don't want to reinvent the wheel, right? It's kind of like a franchise system,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
If it's working for people and you have a system, all you got to do is follow the playbook. I'm in. So I just pulled the trigger and jumped in.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I know I try to tell people it's hard to explain that it really has A to Z, everything that you need if you follow it. Like
Yes.
it is the exact playbook to it.
Yes.
And you've done that. So let's talk about what you have acquired since then and kind of what you have going on with your midterm rentals.
Yeah, definitely. So I jumped in. I joined the Vetted Homes. I did the course. And in the process, you start learning how to identify the right property. The system guides you on how to analyze a market, which that's something you have to do it on your own. And I spent a lot of time, I would say 2 to 3 hours a day easily, just studying which market I was going to go after. I decided on Oklahoma. Some of the things that they have there were interesting to me. Basically, you want high population growth, jobs, right? Relocations. So that market was very appealing to me. And then I started learning about the market supply and demand, which properties would probably tend to do good. I started analyzing the competition. Competition, by the way, is good. It shows you that there's a market, so you want some type of competition.
Mhm.
Mm, I tell people like if you want to go into a market that has no competition, maybe you should start selling typewriters. You're not going to have anybody competing against you. You're going to have a monopoly.
Yeah.
Um, so I also realized that it was fun for me. I really enjoyed that process. It's probably like the most exciting. And then after that, I started reaching out to brokers in the area and started looking for my first property, and I decided to buy two at the same time and try to get them to close at the same time because I figured it'd be a great experience to do so.
Mhm. That's great. Yeah. And then you furnish them. Do you want to share a little bit about that journey as well?
Yeah, so this is out of state, and one of the things that I liked about the Vetted Homes group is that not only you have the playbook, but then you see people who are executing on that playbook and then having great results. And then when I heard that some of the members like you guys have quite a bit of homes, I can't remember how many you have exactly, but
Yeah.
there's some people with multiple homes and out of state, and you're able to do that because you have a
Mhm.
system in place. It's like,
Mhm.
wait a second, I should be able to do that too as well.
Mhm.
I started researching for somebody that could help me with the design of the furniture and getting the homes furnishes because that's not my.
I
My
understand. Yeah.
I'd probably go broke if I'm the one furnishing the homes. Have a pool table and margarita machines, and
Yeah, for
in the
sure.
living room. So luckily, Dominique and Shayla, who are members of the group, just out of nowhere, they said, "Hey, we're thinking about starting this service, and we're willing to work with you." So I jumped at that offer, and I did. And sure enough, they did an amazing job as far
Mhm.
as designing the homes, picking up the furniture, everything. I did not get in their way. I said, like, I'm hiring you because you're the expert, and I'm just going to go
Mm,
with what you, think
that's great.
it's good. Hmm.
Yeah, it sounds like you were an awesome boss when it comes to that, just letting her take it and run with it. And I saw the homes. I mean, they're incredible. They did a fantastic job. So
Yes,
it's been
yes,
amazing.
absolutely. Hmm.
So let's talk about what results you have seen. So you fully furnished the properties, and then what happened?
Yeah, I got lucky in terms of, let's say, both homes were ready. I think it was during Black Friday, maybe on the 28th of November. We're on vacation in Miami. So one of the homes being listed 24 hours, insurance company called me. I'm in the beach in Miami, and it's like, okay, I got somebody who wants to look at the house today. And I'm like shaking. I'm like, I didn't know really what I was doing, but it was really exciting at the
Yeah.
same time. So that one got leased quickly. And I would say the other one took like about maybe a week and a half too. So that was very quick. I was really, really excited. I could feel that there was good demand. The homes were bringing people in.
Mhm.
That's another good sign. And we had a little bit more cash to invest in. So I decided to buy another one in February. So by January or February, I started looking for the third home. I flew out there, found one with my realtor. We made an offer. And once
Okay.
again, Shiler and Dominique went out there and furnished it. We got that one up and running, I would say, like around May, I think. And it got leased very quickly, too. And out of nowhere, I got a notification from Zillow on this property that it was priced below the market, which is very unusual.
Hmm.
And it was something that I couldn't pass up. So I
Okay.
decided to pull the trigger and went after that.
Love
And I
it.
got that. And yeah, the results on that one too, that it was leased rather quickly as well. Hmm.
That's so incredible. I love it. So that's all the upside. I'm sure people listening are like, wow, he booked it so fast. That doesn't always happen in insurance midterm rentals. Sometimes we have vacancy as well, but sometimes it is that quick. And so that those are signs that you're in obviously a great market as well. So I think that's yeah, you did your research and you followed the playbook. So that's awesome.
Yeah, definitely. I saw an opportunity. I think there are a lot of homes there that I get the impression, I don't really have the data, but I see that maybe some people are maybe being forced to lease the home instead of selling it at the right price
Mm,
perhaps, and the houses don't look right, the pictures are not right, the
yeah.
furnitures don't look right. So I just saw an opportunity there. I didn't really get a sense that in that market that I'm in, that there are a lot of premium, I would say,
Mm,
homes in a
okay.
way. And I kind of
Yeah.
wanted to go after that, the 4 bedrooms with the premium furniture,
Mhm.
not in terms of price, but in terms of look.
Sure,
Uh,
sure.
and I wanted to stand out and be a little bit different than some of these other properties where
Yeah.
you can just kind of tell it's like, well, I can't sell the home because I might be upside down. I'm not really sure. Well, I don't want to sell
Okay.
it right now, but let's just go ahead and try to rent it as is.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's great. What part do you think was like the hardest to implement when it came to IMTRs?
Well, I knew that I'm going to have, in business, especially when you're scaling any business, kind of like we do, it's impossible for me to be everywhere, right? At the same
Hmm.
time. So
Yeah.
we rely, yeah, my wife and I, we do well in business 'cause we rely on a team. And then we have a
Great.
team of people that are
Hmm.
executing our vision and help
Hmm.
us. And then that's how we deal with, multiple businesses. So when we went over to the MTR side of the business, I knew I was going to have a team. I was going to need a team, which is part of the program and right, the
Hmm.
course. that
Yeah.
you need a team. Number one is going to be the cleaner,
Mhm.
right? I was lucky to find a light manager through
Okay.
my realtor. So my realtor, his family, they own a property management company. And in speaking with Matt, my realtor, I asked him, do you know anybody that manages
Mhm.
properties like on their own? And she says,
Mhm.
yeah, we got a girl that we use for some of our properties, but she also manages short-term and Airbnb properties. She might be interested. So I reached out to her, and sure enough, yeah, I'm willing to, support you and help you. And then through her, I was able to find, the cleaners and, some of the other people that can help me manage my property. So I got lucky in that sense. And what it pays off is like networking. The more people you talk to, obviously,
Mhm.
the easier it's going to be. Because with the cleaners, it took me maybe three probably different companies that I had to deal with to find the right one.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
when you have people there on the ground supporting you, it becomes easier. Mhm.
Yeah. No, that's great advice. It's so important to ask your local realtors. You can get into local Facebook groups and just ask around and find out who are people using, who do they recommend.
Yeah.
It makes I feel like people get very intimidated about doing business out of state, and I understand why. That sounds so hard. Like I'm gonna have to fly there. What am I gonna do if there's an emergency? But you're right. You just begin to build a team, and a great place to start is to talk to the local realtor and see who they use because they usually have a handyman or appliance repairman or gardeners or just a whole network of people. So that's a great
Yeah.
place to
Yeah.
start.
Yeah. Fear is paralyzing. So fear doesn't mean that I'm, weak or I'm a coward, right? Fear is just lack of knowledge and experience. So,
Mhm.
okay, I want to own homes out of state. Yeah, it could be a fearful thought. You might think it might be difficult, but what do I need? I need knowledge, right? I need to find answers to a lot of the questions, and I need to take action. I need to take steps towards that, right?
Yeah.
And eventually the fear disappears. So that
Mhm.
I use that formula with
Love.
everything, right? It's just a matter of finding the knowledge and then having some experience. When you find a mentor, a course, or a community of people that have the knowledge, they have the experience, and they give you a playbook. Hey, if we're playing football and this is the NFL, well, the Vetted Homes playbook shows you how to win the Super Bowl. Well, why am I going to deviate, right? And there's a lot of members who are winning Super Bowls, every week. It's not just
Yeah.
once a year, right? It's like,
Right.
hey, I won. So, okay, well, that's all I need to see. I'm just going to follow the system and follow the playbook.
I love that. Yes, I know it's such an encouragement. I know it is scary, I think, for some people, especially with a major investment like a home purchase.
Yeah,
But it's like you said, when you have the knowledge and you take the steps towards, what you've learned, it
yeah,
really does work out for people. So that's
absolutely,
awesome. I'd
absolutely.
love to know what's something that you wish you'd known earlier?
Gosh, I wish that I had known that that market was there.
Yes,
Absolutely, yeah.
most people do say that.
But overall, no, I'm just grateful to be here, and I'm just happy that things have worked out very well. It's not luck. I think you have to put in the work. I do have a lot of questions, but it's ultimately it's my responsibility too to find the answers and dig deep and figure things out on my own, as opposed to reaching out and expecting other people to do the work for me.
Oh, I love that. But we do have, like you've seen, an amazing community who, when you do ask questions, everybody's willing to chime in and help each other out and give input, which I love. And obviously, this industry, every family we host is different, every home we have is different, and every relocation need is different as well. And so questions come up all the time, and that's why I love that our community's there and people use it and
Absolutely.
get answers. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And I learned from, let's say, mistakes or problems or issues.
Mhm.
That's really when you start learning, when you're faced with challenges and obstacles. So when, you hear perhaps in the community, oh, well, there's this order in the odor in the house, or, the floors are dirty, or this happened, right? When you listen how people go about finding the solution, that to me is extremely valuable,
Mm-hmm.
right? And now that you know the basics of, which market you're going to go to identify a home and then go after it and lease it, I see the value of the group now being that in a moment of crisis or a problem, that I could reach out to you or some other members of the group and say, look, I have this problem here, right? And have you ever faced it, and what could be the solution? And then having that information
Mm-hmm.
and that support available to me is very, very valuable to keep going with it
Yeah.
within the community. Yeah.
For sure. I noticed you posted recently, because your properties, I think, are all booked, that you said, I'm getting a little bit bored or lonely. I would love for you to just kind of explain, like, what does it look like to run for midterm rentals, time wise, and how much work and energy and effort are you putting into that, like on the weekly basis, I guess, or monthly basis?
Yeah, you know what? It started with the philosophy of, hey, I need to learn this. I need to master anything that I decide to do in business. I need to learn and master the process, right?
Yep.
So why is it that I'm going to invest in four homes and immediately transfer it over to a management? It doesn't make sense. I need to be better or be able to do a better job than any management company out there, right?
Yep.
So I'm just going to force myself to manage these four locations, learn everything that I have to do, right? To
Yep.
provide an amazing experience for my tenants and my clients, make sure the homes are properly furnished and ready and so forth, right? And I decided to do it, but then I realized, well, this is not too hard and I actually enjoy it,
Right. Yeah.
like I love it, you
Uh-huh.
know?
Oh, yeah.
And our philosophy in business is everything has a solution.
Mhm.
We don't get too emotional. We don't like to react. So we've had situations where, we purchased a home and we're in the process of getting it furnished. And then we have a problem with the dishwasher. Okay, well, what's the solution? Well, let's get a new dishwasher. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that to me, that's not a big problem,
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. That's what I always say. If nobody died or nobody got hurt, everything else is fixable. We can do
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. So it's like, oh
Perspective.
my God, the sheets are dirty, or now there's some dog hair. Okay, well, what's the solution? Well, we clean them and we replace them. Oh, okay. Is that it? So
Yeah.
it's not really too bad, right?
Mhm.
Compared to some of the other stuff that we're dealing with in business and some of the issues that our friends that own, businesses and restaurants and stuff that they
Mhm.
deal with doesn't really compare
Wow.
to what we're doing in the real estate. So yeah, I think in terms of a business model, real estate and MTR, um, it's fairly, I would say, easy for me. It's not
Hmm.
really, bad. It's kind of weird that I don't hear from my tenants. I kind of want to reach out, like, hey, how's it going? How's the house?
Yeah.
But bad news travels. So if you don't hear from them,
Yeah.
hopefully, everything is good.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, I'm loving it. It doesn't really require, especially right now. I don't
Mhm.
know, maybe an hour or two with the landscaper per week at the most.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
I'd love to hear you share. Is there any personal stories that you've had with any of the renters and any of their situations that have been just touching, or just, I know most of the people that stay in our homes are super just thankful. But do you have any
Yeah.
unique stories from?
No, not really. I see out of the ordinary. I know that we had a situation where a tenant just moved furniture around the
Hmm.
house and replaced a few things with some other items. But when you look at it in terms of an issue and a problem, it's okay. Well, we just move the furniture back and we put the shower curtains back, and
Yeah.
not that big of a problem.
Sure. Yeah.
Maybe some appliances that have not worked and we get them replaced or we fix them, but no, it doesn't really compare with the stuff that we deal on, on our other side of the businesses with like gyms and, hundreds of clients or thousands of clients, employees, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Doesn't really compare. Yeah.
Okay. That's good to
Mhm.
know. So what advice would you give someone at the beginning of their journey into real estate and also into IMTRs?
I think the advice that I would give is that you can't go into this as a hobby or a side thing. Anything that you decide to do in business, it doesn't matter what you're going to get into. Just become an expert, become a professional, right?
Mhm.
Be obsessed with what you're going to do. It has to be that way. I
Mhm.
get a lot of inspiration from business books. And, well, lately I've been watching a lot of podcasts and so forth. I don't read as much as I used to, but business autobiographies inspire me a lot. And, some of them, like the Steve Jobs autobiography.
Mhm.
There's one from Banana Republic and how they got started.
Okay.
I think it's called Wild America, Made in the USA, which is the
Mhm.
Sam Walton with Walmart,
Yeah.
Shoe Dog, Nikes. I mean, if you haven't read that, go ahead and get it because it
I'm writing
doesn't
it.
only, yeah, you've read that or no?
No, I said I'm writing it down.
Yeah. They get into like the operational
Mhm.
aspect of business, but also I get a lot of inspiration from their journey
Mm.
and a lot of the issues that they faced, right, in trying to execute on that vision that they had. But something that they all had in common is that they were just obsessed with what they were doing and
Mhm.
to become, the very best that they can be in what they're doing, right? And
Mhm.
then also something that is inspiring is like you see them accomplishing so much,
Mhm.
right, throughout the day and month and years. You're like, well, I should be able to be doing more too, right? I have the capacity to do more.
Yeah.
So that does help, I think, in
Mhm.
terms of if I'm speaking to somebody, it's like learn, become an expert. You become the expert. There's no excuse today with AI why you
Mhm.
shouldn't become, let's say, a real estate expert, an insurance expert. You should be
Mhm.
able to become an expert in underwriting deals, finding locations, finding out the market. There's so many tools for you out there that you can use. And then also find a community like Vetted Homes that can guide you with people that are already executing and
Mhm.
achieving, great results.
Yeah, I love that. I love how you just said, be so into it. Like I know I'm obsessed with it. I wake up at 3 in the morning and it's like, well, I can't really go back to bed. So I just get up and it's because I'm excited to learn and excited to work on things and excited to grow. And we have such a great community and I love watching everybody else succeed. And then I'm always trying to figure out, okay, what's next? How do we, become better? How do we grow? How do we help more people? It's just
Totally.
I
Totally.
I don't know how people aren't. I mean, I'm wired different too, and yeah,
Yeah,
clearly you have that
absolutely.
brain too. That it's just fun to learn. I
Yes.
understand
Hmm.
how people don't want to. Well, read a physical book is what I prefer to do, but I'm with you. I'm a podcast and Audible gal now because I need to multitask most of the time.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I love that. Any other advice? Just, I mean, you have so many great businesses going, and I just even love how you were sharing about having a team in place. And obviously, you've done a really good job putting those people in place. And I think part of it comes from learning yourself and being an expert yourself. And I think that's what all business owners need to do. Like you
Yeah.
said, we have to figure out how to do all aspects of it. So that way, when we, hand it off, we've trained them well.
Yeah.
So do you have
Yeah.
any advice for just entrepreneurs in general?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Have a vision what you want to accomplish. Real estate and MTR for us looks like something that it is very appealing where when you're retired. Like I don't
Mhm.
see myself running a gym into my 60s, 70s, and 80s, but I do see myself managing a portfolio of
Mhm.
properties,
Sure.
during my 70s and 80s, right?
Mhm.
For sure. So, just have a vision of what you want to accomplish because that's going to be the fuel of,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
making you keep going when you have little problems and challenges. But then also, like I said, find a group of people that can help you out,
Mhm.
that you can learn, have a playbook, and then also learn, spend a lot of time analyzing your market as well, become the expert too. Mhm.
Mhm. I love that. That's so good. Okay, I want to do a little quick round. I haven't done this before, but I thought it'd be fun.
Sure.
Just asking a couple quick little questions. We talked about some podcasts and books. You shared a few, but what's one book that you feel like has shaped your thinking?
Gosh, there's so many areas that I don't think just one, but Think
Share
and Grow
multiple.
Rich, like in terms of finances, right? Think and Grow Rich. I think it's very powerful.
Mhm.
Rich Dad Poor Dad. I think that had a huge impact in understanding assets and liabilities. Because when you're young, right, you're thinking about, oh, I'm making money now. Let me go ahead and spend my money on liabilities, you know?
Mhm. Yeah.
Like our sons, for example, I give you an example. Our son, moved out, but he wanted to move out in a very, both of them did, but at a very young age.
Mhm.
And, when he said, I want to move out, the first thing we did was apply some of the stuff that we learned with the Rich Dad and Poor Dad. Okay, well, this is your assets and your liabilities. You're going to sign the lease. Oh, great. All of a sudden, you got a 3-year lease. You have a $70,000 liability. How much are your assets, right? And they were like, oh my gosh, right?
Yes, love
So
that.
these are principles that we spent a lot of time teaching them when they were young. We're always talking about their assets and their liabilities. So that's a great book in terms of your finances and laying down the foundation, right? As a business person, and now that we like to scale things, I enjoy books that are helping me think bigger and being able to expand and grow. So a lot of these books that I mentioned to me had a huge impact in my life. And then there are other books that, talk about spirituality and then your mindset and so forth. But just to pick one is going to be very, very difficult because
Sure.
you have so many different areas of your life. And then also it's based on your needs, right? And wants at a certain point in time.
Mhm. Yeah, that's great. What about any podcasts? Are there any podcasts you're
The
loving?
Diary of the CEO, I really like it
Okay.
right now. He
Yeah.
has a lot of people coming in with the AI because now the
Mhm.
AI, how is that going to impact the businesses? Right now, it has revolutionized the way we do business,
Wow.
especially on the fitness side.
Sure.
I love it. I don't see how I could operate without having those tools available to us in terms of marketing, legal, contracts,
Mhm.
strategy, everything.
Yeah, for sure.
So I want to learn a lot more about that. And then kind of like the agents that are out there learning about the AIs that they're going to help you execute.
Mhm.
So I spend a lot of time listening to podcasts and courses online that teach you about that. That's where I'm at right now.
That's incredible. I know it feels so intimidating. I feel like people are just a little bit afraid of it sometimes and
Yeah.
like you just got to just dive in because there's so many tools out there to help. What's something you would say to somebody who has a business they've been running for a long time and they're kind of like, actually, I'm old school. I just want to keep doing what I'm doing. What
Well,
would you say to them?
we have a great team of people in different areas, and we're telling them if you're not using AI in your job, you're not going to get replaced by AI. You're going to get replaced if you're not using AI.
Hmm. That's good.
So
Yeah.
when I'm talking to the marketing team and they bring in a script, the first thing I ask, did you run it by the AI? Everything has to be run by the AI first, right?
Hmm.
Because what's the point? You have certain tools. We're
Yeah.
going to do a press release. You better run it, through the AI before it comes to me.
Hmm.
Because if I read it and I know, wait a second, you're not using those tools, well, you're not going to get replaced by the AI. You're going to get replaced because you're not using the AI.
Yeah.
So don't be afraid of it. It's not going to replace you, but it makes you more productive and it
Hmm.
helps you with the quality of the job that you're doing as well. So you have to use it. Yeah.
Yes, that's great for sure. What about what's one of your best daily habits?
Working out in the mornings. I get up.
Okay. I would say you
Yes.
seem like a very disciplined guy. So
Yes.
working out.
Yes. I grew up obese all my life. And finally, I was able to conquer that maybe almost 15, 16 years ago.
Wow.
But I'm a whole different person. And in business, when you're dealing with challenges, stress, and pressure, if you're
Mm.
not really working, I mean, it helps you
Oh, so
when
much.
you work out. Yeah, after a workout, you feel that problems that you woke up being worried about, they tend to disappear. And then not to mention about your health, right?
Mm-hmm.
And your clear mind and so forth. There's a lot of benefits. Also walks. We walk in the evening too. I would say maybe 4 times per week. It's amazing.
That's
How
great. Do you
good.
do that with your wife?
Yes, we do. And that's when we talk and we strategize and we dream and
I love
everything's very, very positive. Yeah.
I love that. I know that's probably one of my favorite things that Jason and I do together. It's just our walks, like on the
Yeah.
street by the beach. And it is, it's just a good time to connect. And like you said, dream and have no distractions of the cell phone or
Yeah.
for us, the kids, but
Yeah.
not that they're distractions, but you know
Yeah.
what I mean?
And
So that's,
dream and always think, the future and doing things better and growing.
yeah,
Very
that's
positive.
awesome. I love it. What's one mistake that you'd warn people against? Is there anything that you would warn people against?
Gosh, in terms of what? I'm sorry.
So let's talk about, and well, it could be just in business in general or real estate. Have you had any mistakes that you've made that you'd warn people about?
Oh yeah, yeah. And we've made mistakes, tons of mistakes. We tell our team it's like, hey, if there's anybody here that has made the most mistakes, it's my wife and I. But you learn from your mistakes.
Yeah.
So I
Mhm.
look forward to making mistakes. 'Cause something good's gonna happen from
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've made a lot of mistakes that I wish that we would have known better. In terms of our business on this side of the fitness is being surrounded by people that know more than you do. They bring a lot to the table, that are thinking in terms of strategy, that brings a problem and say, hey, this is something that we need to do, as opposed to having a team member that says, what is it that you want us to do?
Hmm. Yeah.
In terms of like real estate, being surrounded by people that do well, like in franchising. Do I want to speak to somebody who owns a unit that is struggling and is not doing well, or do I want to talk to somebody who's killing it, right?
Hmm.
You're
Yeah.
right. So in real estate, is finding those people that are doing very well and learning from them. So I think in terms of mistakes, perhaps not reaching out to more people and understanding and learning from them. That's something that we could have done
Hmm.
perhaps a little better in the past.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I know. I always find I'm so drawn to people who are just doing really well in business, or like you said, they've done something that you're like, I want to learn from you because you're crushing it. And I think
Yes,
it's people, I don't know, I like love to celebrate those people and glean from their information. I know sometimes people are negative, like, I don't know, they just badmouth somebody who's better than them or smarter than them or gone before them. But I'm like, those are the people I want to be around because I want to
totally.
grow
Yeah,
and always be stretched. So I'm with
totally,
you on
totally.
that.
Yeah, and you share those wins sometimes. Our closest friends, when they have wins, I feel like I'm winning too.
Yes, totally. I
Yeah,
agree.
absolutely. Hmm.
I agree. So let's talk about what keeps you showing up for our vetted homes community because you are in there helping and encouraging.
Yes, yeah, being part of a community, I think things is important. Sharing your wins, sharing our challenges or obstacles as well, but
Mhm.
also being part of a community that you can count on when things go wrong, and knowing
Mhm.
that people are going to be there
Yeah.
to help me solve those problems or overcome those challenges, to me is very, very important than
Mhm.
trying to do things alone. I think without the community, maybe watching YouTube videos and buying a few books, maybe you can figure it out in 2 3 years perhaps. But having a group of people that are helping you, your learning curve is more steep, and you can learn quicker in just a matter of 2 3 months. And if you start executing and taking steps,
Mhm.
right, with the stuff that you learn. Uh-huh.
Absolutely. I feel like that's the biggest thing. We're all gathering so much information on the daily now, but
Yeah.
so many people just sit idly by it. I'm like, just try the thing. You won't get clarity until you move forward and try. So
Yeah.
I'm always like, go for it, take the risk. But obviously, I'm a risk
Yeah. That
taker,
that
clearly.
fear, that fear that paralyzes you won't go away until you have the knowledge and the experience. So if you're just focused on analyzing and getting knowledge, but you don't take 1 or 2 steps, that fear won't go away. You need both of those, right? The knowledge and the experience. It'll go away.
That's gold. That's great advice. I love that.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what you are excited about in life. What is exciting for you these days?
Retiring. So our
Okay.
youngest son moved out of nowhere. He's
Okay.
like, I'm out.
Mhm.
Um, Gosh, I had such a hard time because I thought that he was 21 when he moved out, so he's just a
Wow.
kid.
Oh, yeah.
Our oldest moved out when he was 22, maybe 23, I think.
Okay.
So now we're empty nesters, and I was struggling. But some of our friends said, "Look, don't be sad. You raised very independent, very confident kids or hustlers that want to conquer the world. You should be proud of that." So I was like, "Oh wow, you're right."
Yeah.
So we raised our family here in Chino Hills, California. It's a nice community to raise a family, but it is boring. There's nothing to do here. Now my wife said, "Well, let's move to Dana Point by the beach." So now I'm excited about that. Now
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'm down.
That's
So
so
she has become a real estate expert in the Dana Point area. She knows the streets, the home, the prices. She can tell you if it's overpriced, underpriced. She's obsessed with it. Not
cool.
myself. So I'm really excited about retirement and planning for our retirement,
Mm,
which is probably, I don't know, maybe another 5 or 6, 7 years ahead. But we're excited about that and the change in our lifestyle. So that's really a lot of fun right now.
that's awesome. Where did your boys move to? Are they
One
Florida?
is in Long Beach. He's
Okay.
an entrepreneur since he was a little kid. He's a hustler.
Mm.
Didn't want anything to do with the business. He doesn't want people to know that we're his parents. He's like, I want to be successful on my own. Our
Oh,
second, he's 22. He has been working with us since he was 16, and he's amazing, very gifted at such a young age. He helps us with our 4 locations.
oh, cool.
So he's in the city of Ontario, very close, but we get to see him every day because we're working together.
Okay.
But he told us he came up to us one day and he goes, "Hey, I'm moving out," and we're going like, "Oh my gosh, why?" and so on. But when he goes tonight, I'm like, "What do you mean tonight? And I'm like, "What do you mean tonight? Don't you have a place? At least I did everything." And I was like, "Wow, that's interesting. Why would you do it that way? Why didn't you come to us, right?" And he said, "Because you guys would have talked me out of it if I'd have told,
Mhm.
because you would have talked me out of it." So I went ahead and did. I was like, "Okay,
Well,
I'll support you."
yeah, gotta
But
respect
he's
that. Wow.
close by, yeah, and we're really proud of him.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I love, yeah, just hearing your parenting tips because obviously you raised some stand-up young men, and that I know is a goal for most of us. I
Yeah.
I'm trying to with business, trying to, teach the kids. We're just working on budget right now.
Yeah.
And
Totally.
it's it's so hard. I told my husband, I'm like, I think it's time because they have, Apple Pay. It's their own money, but they can
Yeah.
just, click it. And I'm like, I think we need to go back to cash. We need to get all these things off their cards. They need to have
Yeah.
write down their budget and use cash and see what it's really like. Because it's very different when they're just,
Yeah.
I'll just scan it, and then all of a sudden, they have $1 left. I'm like, you did
Totally.
not plan well. I'm sorry that
Totally.
you did that.
Totally. One
But
thing I love is that they're understanding the value of money now that they're on their own. I could see
no.
them growing a lot in that aspect. Yeah.
For sure. I know that's kind of what some of my friends have been saying. They're like, just be patient because once they do step out and do it, and they're going to come back and also appreciate us,
Yes.
all the
Absolutely.
things that we did. I mean,
Yeah.
even now, if I fill up their gas tank, they're like, wow, thanks, mom. I'm like, yeah, no problem. But it's good for them to learn.
Yes. Wonderful.
Well, Lewis, it was so great having you on today. I appreciate your just your time and sharing your wisdom in business, and I love just seeing all that you've done. And I'm inspired by you, and I'm just thankful that you're a part of our vetted homes community. So thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. It's a lot of fun. I appreciate it. Anytime, count on it. Anytime. Thank you.
Thank you.